They say hindsight is 20/20ths, but if you had told me 6 months ago, I'd be standing in a Walmart parking lot, planning revenge with a guy I once dared to prank with hot sauce eye drops, I'd have laughed in your face. Yet here we are. My name's Jake. I'm 28, live just outside of Milwaukee, and I work in logistics. Not the sexy kind where you fly first class and manage high-end supply chains. No, I'm the boots-on-the-ground kind. I make sure boxes get loaded, trucks get moving, and people stop yelling about why their patio furniture didn't show up on time. It's not glamorous, but it pays the bills. I rent a small townhouse, drive a used Tacoma that has more personality than horsepower, and keep my fridge stocked with beer, eggs, and one lone bottle of mustard that I don't remember buying. You know, living the dream. I met Claire at a friend's birthday thing last summer. She was wearing this red dress and had this effortless laugh. The kind that makes you want to be funny just so you can hear it again. We started talking over a shared distaste for vodka cranberries, and somehow that led to an actual date. Then she was leaving a toothbrush at my place. Then she wasn't leaving at all. At first, everything felt easy. She was smart, charming, and had the kind of confidence that made you forget your own awkwardness. We binged true crime documentaries, argued about whether pineapple belongs on pizza. It does. And once stayed up until 3 a.m., debating who would win in a fight, Batman or John Wick. Spoiler, I was wrong. But I defended Batman with the kind of irrational loyalty usually reserved for sports teams and barbecue recipes. Our friends called us the chill couple. We didn't fight, didn't overshare on social media, didn't even do that gross baby talk thing couples sometimes slip into. Looking back, I think maybe that should have been the first red flag. We were too chill. Like, emotionally refrigerated. Anyway, life moved on. Work got busier. Claire started a new job in marketing. We were still good. At least, I thought we were. Until Rob opened his mouth. Now, Rob's been my best friend since high school. He's the kind of guy who'd help you move a body but would complain the whole time. We do Sunday beers, fantasy football, and once took a spontaneous trip to Vegas that neither of us can fully remember. He's a solid dude. And he doesn't sugarcoat. It was a Thursday. Random, I know. I had just gotten off a 10-hour shift, and we were grabbing a burger. I remember this detail because the waitress had gotten my order wrong, and I was midway through ranting about it when Rob interrupted me. Jake, I saw Claire last night. I stopped. Okay, and? She was at the Rusty Barrel. With some guy? Now, I'm not the jealous type. I mean, Claire had friends. I had friends. We didn't have rules about texting or hanging out or any of that possessive crap. So I just nodded. Cool. No, man. Not cool. She was with him. I blinked. Him who? Her ex. The one from college. The one with the sleeve tattoo and the man bun. That got my attention. You sure? Dude, I'm not blind. They were at the bar, real close. Real comfortable. And I'm not talking hand-on-the-shoulder comfortable. I mean legs tangled, whispering, touching lips kind of comfortable. The burger in my hand suddenly felt like drywall. You're joking. Rob didn't blink. He never blinks when he's serious. He just shook his head and said, Jake, I wish I was. And just like that, my perfectly average, slightly boring, low-maintenance life, it lit up like a dumpster fire. I didn't confront her that night. I needed to think. You don't charge into battle without a plan, even if the war is over trust and broken promises. The next day, I came home from work and found her on the couch, feet up, watching one of those trashy reality shows where people throw drinks and cry over dinner. I stood there in the doorway, arms crossed, heart pounding like it was doing CrossFit. So, I said, how was the Rusty Barrel? She froze. You know that look dogs get when they know they're in trouble, but they're trying to figure out if maybe, just maybe, they can wag their tail out of it? That was her face. What are you talking about? Don't. Just don't. I know. Rob saw you. With him. Silence. Then denial. Then a shaky voice. Jake, it wasn't what it looked like. I laughed. Not the funny kind. The dry, bitter kind that feels like sandpaper in your throat. Really? So it didn't look like you were trying to relive your college years on a barstool? She tried to cry. Or maybe she really did cry. I didn't care. The part of me that used to ache at the sight of her tears? Dead. Vaporized. I didn't mean to hurt you, she said. It just happened. We were talking, and then you decided to play tonsil hockey with your ex? Jake. Save it. I walked out. Not in a dramatic movie way. Just, quietly. I grabbed my jacket, keys, phone. Drove around for an hour. Parked at an empty gas station. Let the rage boil in silence. Then I texted Rob. Me, you serious about what you saw? Rob, yeah. 100%. You okay? Me, no. Let's talk tomorrow. The next day, we sat in his garage, sipping beers, listening to a playlist that hadn't been updated since 2014. He didn't say anything for the first 10 minutes. Just let me stew. He knew me too well to try and play therapist. Finally, I looked at him. I want to do something. Like what? I don't know. But I'm not gonna just sit here like a chump while she plays house with her ex. Rob grinned. All right then. Let's mess up her world. The fire was lit. I wish I could say we immediately cooked up some genius-level revenge scheme like we were a couple of suburban Batman villains. Truth is, we spent the first half of that night throwing out the dumbest ideas you've ever heard. We could superglue glitter in her shampoo, put dead fish in her car vents, hack her Instagram, and make her confess to being a lizard person. Look, we weren't in the most rational state of mind. But then Rob said something that stuck. What hurts most isn't what she did. It's that she thinks she can get away with it and still come out on top. That was it. That was the mission. Not revenge for the sake of being petty. Not destruction for destruction's sake. Just balance. Justice, if you will. Claire had started a new job a few months back. Marketing for a mid-sized fitness startup. She got the gig by bending the truth on her resume. Claimed she managed some huge campaign at her last place. Rob's cousin happened to work at her old job. We fact-checked. She was an intern. A glorified coffee runner. Strike one. She had also just signed a lease with a new roommate. Some influencer wannabe named Lacey who posted yoga poses next to her emotional breakdowns. Turns out Claire had lied on her application to get into the apartment too. Claimed she made more money than she did. Strike two. And finally, she was hosting this big party for her inner circle. Her new coworkers. Her old friends. A real networking meets mimosas vibe. She was going to announce something big there, probably a fake promotion, knowing her. Strike three. All we had to do was give those three things a nudge. We weren't burning anything down. We were just handing people the matches she lit herself. Rob started pulling receipts, screenshots, old texts, photos. He found an old group chat Claire had with her ex and another friend. They joked about me, mocked my job, called me boring boy Jake. That one hurt more than it should have. You sure you want to see all this? Rob asked. No, but I need to. We made a plan. Operation Honest Mirror. The party would be the centerpiece. Everything else, just the opening act. She thought she'd moved on, upgraded, left behind the boring guy in the used truck. Time to show her just how much reality bites. The day of the party felt like opening night of a high school play. Nerves, anticipation, and a creeping fear that we'd forget our lines. Claire had gone all out. String lights, overpriced charcuterie boards, champagne flutes rented from a party supply place that definitely overcharged her. Rob and I weren't invited, obviously. But Rob's girlfriend? She was. And she had no problem FaceTiming us from the kitchen. Gentlemen, she said, welcome to the show. First, the apartment. Remember Lacey? Well, Claire had signed the lease with forged pay stubs. We made an anonymous call to the property manager that morning with a neat little packet of info, including screenshots of her actual pay from a budgeting app she left open on Instagram once. 10 minutes into the party, she got the call. The landlord was doing a routine verification of income. Claire's face apparently turned the color of undercooked chicken. Strike one. Next, the job. Rob emailed her employer from a burner account. Just a little note with a subject line. A quick heads up about your employee Claire. Inside, screenshots from Rob's cousin at Claire's previous internship. Included was a direct quote from Claire saying, "All I did was schedule coffee orders and write captions, LOL." 20 minutes later, Claire got a work email. Her face dropped. According to Rob's girlfriend, she tried to laugh it off like it was spam. It wasn't. Strike two. And then came the final act. Just as she raised her glass to give a toast about her big promotion, Rob's girlfriend hit play on a Bluetooth speaker. A voice recording filled the room, Claire's voice. From that old group chat, mocking me, mocking Rob, calling one of her co-workers bootleg Margot Robbie, saying how she planned to fake being promoted so she could leverage it to leave for a better job. She froze. The room did too. Silence. Then someone laughed. Awkward. Then someone left. Then two. Then three. Claire stood there, champagne glass still in hand, as her career, apartment, and reputation took simultaneous nosedives. I wasn't there to see it, but Rob's girlfriend was thorough with the details. And I was sitting on my porch, cold beer in hand, watching the sunset. A few hours later, my phone buzzed. Claire, can we talk? I didn't answer. Then came another. Claire, please. I didn't know you could do something like this. No, sweetheart. You didn't. Because the guy you cheated on? He was too boring to notice. Too chill to fight back. But even chill guys have limits. And this one just flipped the script. I met her for coffee. Not because I wanted to, but because I needed the punctuation at the end of this sentence. She sat across from me in that same red dress. A desperate callback to how we began. Only this time, the laugh was gone, replaced by quiet apologies and nervous hands. I didn't expect this from you, she said. No, I replied. You expected me to take it. To stay quiet. Maybe even take you back. She didn't argue, just stared into her latte like it held all the answers. I was angry, she said. But I think I get it now. You had to do what you had to do. Claire, I didn't do it to ruin you. I did it so you'd stop thinking you could step on people and still land on your feet. We talked. About everything. About nothing. It didn't end in shouting or tears. Just a long silence and a quiet nod before we went our separate ways. Life after all that? Surprisingly peaceful. I got promoted. New apartment. Upgraded the Tacoma. Still old, but less rust. Rob and I still do our Sunday beers. The playlist is still outdated, but that's tradition now. And I met someone. Not a whirlwind romance. Just a good, slow burn. She knows about Claire. I didn't hide it. I told her I went through hell, and I didn't come out clean, but I came out clear. I learned something in all this. It wasn't about revenge. It was about self-respect. About knowing when to stop being the nice guy and start being the guy who stands up for himself. Claire thought she broke me, but she didn't. She woke me up. I didn't win. There was no scoreboard. But man, does peace of mind feel a hell of a lot like victory.